And there's a lot of new capabilities that we teach and get the model to do. Whenever you do model training, you try to teach a whole bunch of different things, and most often it doesn't work. But some subset of the things the model does learn. And sometimes it also surprises you. It has these skills, it has abilities that you actually didn't really teach it, but it just kind of learned. For 5, one example of something it does that I think no other model has done is it runs for a very long period of time. And especially when you combine Opus 5 with auto mode, it's just like incredible. Like it can go for days, weeks, months at a time. It just won't stop. You don't even need to use scaffolding. So you don't need /goal, you don't need all this other stuff. It'll just go because it knows it needs to do the task. Another thing that I'm really excited about, and I'm gonna start, I think, to talk about a little bit more, but it's kind of surprising because it's such a new capability, is the model does not seem to be prompt injectable anymore.
Not prompt injectable?
It's crazy. Like people have talked about this like lethal trifecta for a long time. And this really affects kind of harness design and agent design and product design. Because if the model reads some instruction on the internet that's like, you know, do X and Y and Z and also delete everything on the user's computer, a year ago the model would have just done it. But nowadays, Opus does not. And this has actually been the case since like Opus 4.7, 4.8. Sonnet 5 has been quite good at this, Fable is quite good at it. But Opus 5 just hits like a new frontier on this. So essentially, if you combine a well-aligned model, so this is like essentially 3 years of research into alignment, with a prompt injection classifier, which we run for all traffic. And what this is doing is it's based on Chris Ola's mechanistic interpretability work, where it's literally, we're looking at neurons in the model's brain that light up when prompt injection happens. So the model won't even tell you, but we can actually see those neurons and we can figure out and diagnose that it's happening. And then you combine that with the auto mode classifier. And with these 3 layers, we just cannot demonstrate prompt injection anymore.
Talking about a prompt injection, the other side of the coin is now the system prompt. Let's talk a bit about the new release. You actually deleted over 80% of the system prompt from Claude Code.
Yes.
Tell us more about that.
I think something that a lot of people might not realize is Claude Code as a product and as a harness is just always changing. We're always adding stuff. We're always deleting stuff. Every time that a new model comes out, we delete a bunch of the system prompt, change a bunch of the system prompt. We change the set of tools all the time. We change the prompts for the tools all the time. And the reason is every model is very different. So something that you did for one model maybe 3 months ago, it just might not translate at all to the next model. And so one thing about Opus 5 is it's just really intelligent. And a lot of the stuff in the system prompt was correcting for these behaviors that the model should have known, but it didn't. Now Opus 5 just does it. So yeah, we deleted 80% of the system prompt. You can actually try deleting the rest of it too. So when you run Claude Code, you can just do like -- system prompt and set whatever system prompt you want if you want to experiment with it. And another thing that you can try is simple mode. So this is actually this kind of undocumented feature. If you do Claude Code simple equals 1, like this environment variable, and then you run Claude, it'll delete all the system prompts, including from the tools. And we actually use this as a sort of ablation to figure out, is the prompt useful? And what's interesting is that the model is actually a little bit more intelligent without these prompts. That's something that we've been finding. But when you use Claude Code as a product, you do actually want some of these prompts because it helps you use the product and it helps the product behave and the model behave in the way that you would want when you're using it as a person.
I think the thing that's really fascinating in this era of building, basically you have built the best harness in the world for Claude, and that's Claude Code. From what I'm hearing, for every model release, you basically delete all of the code base, delete all of the prompt, and start from scratch every time. That in the old world would have been not something startup would have done for the product. It's like press delete every 6 months for everything.
That's right, that's right. So to be fair, we don't delete the entire code base, but we do delete a lot. So every time there's a new model, we call in research, you call this ablation. And so what this means is you delete the entire system prompt, and then you bring it back line by line to figure out what is the impact of each individual line. It's sort of like an eval, and you can kind of like evaluate it. And ablation, essentially, it's an eval, but you delete things to figure out the impact. And yeah, like we do the same thing for tools. Like we unship tools all the time. We delete code in the harness all the time. If you look at actually the code that's in the Claude Code harness today, almost all of it is about safety and permissions and static analysis. And there's a bunch of UI code. And we've actually unshipped a lot of the other code already.
Do you think this way of building a agentic product and harness and basically doing ablations every time there's a new model release, should everyone in this room that's building AI products basically do that? Be comfortable and brave to press delete?
100%. Yeah, and for people that aren't building agentic products, but you're using Claude Code, every 6 months, delete your Claude MD, delete your skills, delete your hooks. See what the model does, and it might surprise you. And actually for Opus 5, this is something we really do recommend, is just try deleting all of these things, because the model might really just not need all those instructions that you needed for past models.
Let's talk a bit about how then you build this new prompt. When there's a new model release, like for everyone in the room, everyone will want to try Opus 5, and they're gonna press delete on their system prompt. How do they go about rebuilding the system prompt? How do you set up your environment?
So you do it kind of piece by piece. So the first step is you delete. The next step is you use it. And you don't want to guess what's the instruction that the model needs, because you might not predict it correctly. The thing that you want to do is you want to run it. And if it's like a custom agentic product that you're building, you want to kind of run the product. You want to see where it fails with the model. You want to see what it does well. If you're using Claude Code, you want to see where it does well with your code base, or maybe where it stumbles over the architecture or stumbles over something else. And only when you see it repeatedly stumble on the same thing, that's when you add it back. But you don't want to do it too early. Because remember, like the model is going to read this instruction every single time you use it. So you really want to make sure that the model needs this instruction. I think this is sort of the crazy thing about building on models. It's just so different than all the engineering that I've ever done. Like in the past, when you built on systems, you built these like big, beautiful systems, and you really think about the system design up front. You have like a big suite of unit tests. You think about everything, and like a re-architecture is a big project. Sometimes it takes months. I've worked on re-architecture products at big companies that take years. And the model is not like that. It's the way to think about it is almost like a living creature, like a